The shadows you are walking through right now are not your graveyard, they are your forge. Most men and women look at a setback and see a wall. They see a pink slip, a broken relationship, or a bankrupt dream, and they declare the story over. But Napoleon Hill understood a truth that the titans of industry have kept as their private silent partner for centuries. Within every adversity, within every heartbreak, and within every stinging defeat, there is the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. Look at the history of human achievement, and you will see a trail of blood, sweat, and shattered expectations. You see Thomas Edison, not in the glow of the light bulb, but in the dark, soot-covered laboratory where 10,000 attempts ended in smoke. 10,000 times the world told him he was wrong. 10,000 times his pain was a public spectacle of failure. But Edison didn't see failure. He saw the transmutation of energy. He understood that every no was simply carving away the excess marble to reveal the yes. He wasn't just building a lamp. He was building the discipline of a mind that refused to accept the reality of defeat. The average person lives in a state of drifting. They allow the winds of circumstance to blow their ship in whichever direction the storm dictates. When the sun is out, they sail. When the storm hits, they sink. But the master of his own destiny knows that the same wind that threatens to capsize the weak can be harnessed to propel the strong to their destination. Transmutation is the art of taking the raw, ugly, painful energy of a setback and chemically altering its composition within the laboratory of your own mind. It is the refusal to let a tragedy remain a tragedy. Think of Andrew Carnegie arriving on these shores with nothing but the clothes on his back and a hunger that would eventually reshape the skyline of the world. He didn't find success in spite of his poverty. He found it because of it. The hunger was the fuel. The lack was the catalyst. If he had been born into comfort, the world would never have known his name. The pain of lack was the very thing he transmuted into the steel that built a nation. You must realize that your mind is a broadcasting station. It sends out the frequency of your dominant thoughts. If your dominant thought is, "I have lost," then you are broadcasting a signal of defeat, and the universe will conspire to bring you more loss to match your vibration. But if you take that same pain, that gut-wrenching feeling of being overlooked, undervalued, or defeated, and you wrap it in a definiteness of purpose, you change the frequency. You begin to broadcast power. You begin to tell the world, this pain is not my end, it is my investment. Consider the great Abraham Lincoln, a man whose life was a literal map of setbacks. He lost his mother. He lost his first love. He failed in business. He was defeated in nearly every political race he entered until the one that mattered most. To a casual observer, Lincoln was a professional failure, but in the silence of his soul he was transmuting those losses into a depth of character and a reservoir of empathy that would eventually hold a fractured nation together. His pain was the price of his greatness. Without the darkness of his depressions and the weight of his defeats, he would have been too brittle to survive the Civil War. He was forged in the fire so he could stand in the heat. So where are you today? Are you sitting in the ashes of a plan that didn't work? Are you staring at a bank account that mocks your ambitions? Are you feeling the sting of a betrayal that makes you want to close your heart forever? Good, use it. Do not waste the suffering. Most people try to numb the pain. They seek distractions. They seek sympathy. They seek a way to forget. But the high achiever leans into the discomfort. They take that anger, that frustration, that why me energy, and they channel it into a singular, obsessive goal. They understand the law of increasing returns, that the more you are tested, the higher your ultimate value becomes. A piece of iron is worth $5. If you turn that iron into horseshoes, it's worth 10. If you turn it into needles, it's worth hundreds. If you turn it into watch springs, it's worth hundreds of thousands. The material is the same, but the process, the heat, the hammering, the stretching, the tension, is what dictates the value. You are under tension right now because you are being turned into something of immense value. You are being refined. This process of transmutation requires a radical shift in your internal dialogue. You must stop identifying as a victim of circumstance and start identifying as the architect of your reality. The self-made individual is not someone who never fell. It's someone who used the bricks thrown at them to build their foundation. Every time you are knocked down, you have a choice. You can stay down and become a cautionary tale, or you can rise with a new piece of intelligence that you could have only gained from the floor. The secret that the world class won't tell you is that they actually crave the challenge. They know that easy wins produce weak leaders. They know that a life of comfort is a life of decay. They want the obstacle because the obstacle is the way. It is the resistance that builds the muscle. It is the friction that creates the spark. Henry Ford didn't create a revolution in transportation because things were easy. He created it because he was obsessed with solving a problem that everyone else said was impossible. He transmuted the frustration of a slow, inefficient world into the assembly line that changed everything. You must develop what Hill called faith, not a passive hope, but a state of mind which may be induced by self-suggestion. You must look at your current setback and declare with the conviction of a prophet that this is the best thing that ever happened to you. You must see the fortune before it manifests in your hand. You must feel the wealth before it hits your account. You must embody the winner while you are still covered in the dust of the arena. This is not delusion. It is the highest form of mental discipline. It is the ability to see through the temporary shadow of defeat to the permanent light of your own potential.